Good morning, and for our East Coast participants, good afternoon, and all over the world actually, whatever time it is, good afternoon. My name is Eileen, Dr. Eileen Shoals. I am a mental health practitioner. I co-facilitate the Conscious State group on Saturdays bi-weekly with the founder of Hum Hum, Alexandra, and I am going to answer some questions. We've had some questions coming from our customers and our participants over the last several weeks and months, and we're compiling them, and I'm answering some of them, and I'd love to hear your feedback and generally let us know how your dating adventure is going. So I want to start off by reminding everyone as we approach the dating adventure. I love to use words like adventure or experience so that we can create positive neural paths in our brain that remind us that this is something that is fun, it's exciting, it's a growth opportunity. It doesn't have to be this very tense thing. When we hold on to dating, or anything actually for that matter, super tight, a lot of the time it creates anxiety and stress. So as you approach your dating journey, adventure, experience, don't forget to laugh, don't forget to smile, don't forget to bring in your authentic self. And if you can, allow a lot of joy. I also want to talk about passion. And I'm going to be speaking about that a little bit towards the end, but I want to sort of sprinkle it in now. Passion, when I talk about passion, I'm talking about all the things that light you up. This is a very important key to approaching the dating adventure. If you can think about something you're extremely passionate about before you go on the date, chances are your pheromones are going to be emitting that response that you have to that passionate experience or that passionate thing or that passionate desire. And I'm not actually talking about sex, although it could be. I'm talking about things that light you up. So whatever that is in your life, and if you don't have something currently in your life that lights you up, what has been a part of your experience in the past that just was absolutely exciting for you? It could have been that you went on a roller coaster ride that you just absolutely loved, or maybe you developed a show or created a project and you hit it out the park and you're just so proud of that. It could have been anything that you did, something that you did athletically, or something that you did with regard to writing, something that became very successful, or just things you like to do, things you're passionate about. So bring that in to your experience before you go on your date. Really think about that thing you're passionate about and imagine smelling it, tasting it, seeing it, feeling it. Activate all of the senses and really be in that moment of passion and experience it and just enjoy the sensation of whatever you're passionate about. Take that energy into your dates and see what happens. Okay, so these are some of our questions. And by the way, we're talking about discernment today, discernment in dating. One of the questions is, how do I know when to stick to something, or when it's time to let go, or when it's time to release someone? And so I want to remind, we've been talking about this for the last several weeks. I want to remind everyone that one of our greatest tools is to check in with ourselves. So be true to yourself at all times so that you're launching from an authentic space. And of course, maintain self-care, healthy, practices to remain clear and grounded. Two questions that are really good for us to ask ourselves on a regular basis. Number one, who am I? And hello to those of you joining. Thank you for coming. Welcome. Who am I now? And how do I want to move through the world now? So regardless to what your dating experience has been, previous trauma, setbacks, hardships, challenges, difficulties in life, asking yourself on a regular basis, perhaps daily, sometimes moment to moment. Who am I now? So who am I now? Yeah, 5 minutes ago, I didn't show up the way I wanted to show up. But who am I right now in this now moment? And how do I want to show up? How do I choose to present myself authentically to the world? When you are clear on that, when that's your daily, let's say, launching pad, then you have the ability to check in with yourself on a regular basis and know what's true to you. And so, again, the question, how do I know when to stick with something or when it's time to let go or release someone? When you are truly aligned with your truth and you are honoring yourself as a sacred being who knows yourself, and you're launching from that authentic space of knowing yourself, then you have the ability to check in and accept the answers that organically come to you from your higher self, your consciousness. So here's some tips. Stick with things that light you up. At the beginning of this talk, I was discussing passion and really understanding what your passion is and really dialing into that and utilizing that as part of your dating experience. If you know what things light you up, what feels good to your soul, what makes you know that you're having an enjoyable experience. Like think about when you eat your favorite food, or you go to your favorite places, or you read your favorite book, or watch your favorite movie, or when you're around some of those favorite people that in your family or your friends that you really just enjoy. How do you know that it feels good? How do you know that this experience lights you up? Well, it could be butterflies in the stomach. It could be a sense of calm. It could be a sense of peace. It could be just joy and the ability to relax and be yourself. Do those things. Stick to the things that light you up and feel good to your soul. If you find yourself attracted to someone, enjoy it. Enjoy the crush. Enjoy the attraction. Now, I know that sounds so silly, right? But do you know how many people go into crushing on someone with anxiety? The fact that they like someone, the fact that they're into someone and that they're digging someone, it actually creates stress and anxiety. And then they launch into the relationship or the dating experience with that stress and anxiety, or fear or worry or embarrassment, or what if I don't do everything perfectly? What if we just put all that to the side and enjoy the fact that there's someone you're crushing on? There's somebody that's lighting you up. There's someone that you're attracted to and you want to get to know this person. Enjoy that journey. Here's some other stuff. Take care of yourself. So while you're dating, ask yourself basic things. Am I emotionally stable? Am I continuing to be financially responsible? Or am I overspending? Am I neglecting my bills? Am I taking care of my health? Am I still on my physical fitness journey? Am I doing all the practical, regular things, we call them the ADLs in clinical language, activities of daily living? Are those going by the wayside, or am I continuing to stay on top of those things? These are some of the indicators as to whether you should stick with the particular person you're dating or the particular experience, versus when it's time to maybe step back, release, or maybe even let go. And then pay attention to the energy. So let's talk about energy. And we could say emotion, right? For those of you that are more comfortable with emotion, we could say vibration, we could say frequency, depending on the language that you enjoy. But that heavy energy, what does that feel like? So if you're on a date, or you're dating someone, you're in a relationship, and you're feeling fearful every time you're around them or after you've been with them, or you notice worry, I'm going to go through a list of things. You're obsessive. You are obsessive, or they are obsessive. So these things could apply to you or them. You're intrusive, or they are intrusive, or at least it feels that way. You or they are overbearing. Someone's aloof, sarcastic, rude, cynical. You feel bored, or you feel like they're bored with you. You find yourself judgmental, or they're always judging you, or you feel like you're being judged. You find that you're self-critical. If dating someone causes you to be self-critical, overanalyzing yourself and not feeling good about yourself, that's a red flag. It doesn't necessarily mean leave the relationship, but it's definitely a strong indicator that it's time to do some work and heal yourself. You don't want to go into dating feeling badly about yourself, right? Who needs that? We don't need that. Also, does your mood change? Are you noticing that your mood gets low when you go to date that person, or you have spent time with them? Are you feeling low or sad or moody? Does your self-esteem waver or lower when you're around them? And even if your self-esteem goes up when you're around them, that's not a bad thing. It can be fun to notice that you feel more confident with the person that you're dating, but you also don't want that to be a crutch. In other words, you want to find that you feel self-confident and strong and have high self-esteem across the board, even when you're not with that person. If you feel sick to your stomach when you're around the person, now that's big. Headache, sick to your stomach, panic attack, because remember, communication is not just verbal, it's eye language, it's posture, it's overall body language, and it is your nervous system. So your nervous system sometimes communicates, I don't feel comfortable with this person, I don't know about this, and then the body reacts. And so if you notice that you're feeling sick to your stomach, or headaches, that's a red flag that some aspect of your physical being, maybe your mental, emotional being, is not comfortable, and definitely might be time to either pause, step back, go do some introspection, and maybe release that relationship. If you feel self-doubt in any way, and also if you start participating in numbing practices. What do I mean by numbing practices? Too much drinking, too much smoking. You're finding that you have to numb, in order to either prep for the experience with that person, or after you've been with them, you've got to numb in some way to calm the energy. If you're having to do things like that, pay attention to that, because that means on some level your mood is shifting and your energy is shifting. And it doesn't mean that the person is a bad person, okay? When we have heavy or dense energy, when we're relating to people, sometimes it's just the chemistry, it's the pheromones, it's our subconscious processes, sometimes it's our unhealed trauma or theirs. It's any number of things. And we want to learn to not take it personally if it's not jiving. If it's not working, if it's not flowing, it's okay to step back, leave that person for the next dating experience, and you get excited about your next, journey. All right, so that was heavy energy. What about light energy? And again, for those of you that are just tuning in, we are asking some questions. We're looking at discernment in dating and wondering, how do we know if we want to stick with this person or project, or is it time to release them and actually move on? How do we know? So now we're going to talk about that light energy, lighter, more bubbly energy. Remember, I said at the beginning, do what lights you up, do what feels good. So light energy means that the attraction within the dating experience actually feels really good. It's enjoyable. So notice the enjoyment. Notice if your self-care is intact. If you are maintaining all of your regular ADLs, your routine, you're doing those things that you normally would do. You're still feeding the dog, you're still watering the plants, you're still spending time with family, you're still showing up to work on time and doing all your stuff, still going to the gym, working out, going to your ballet class, all the stuff that you normally do, and you still have time to enjoy this person and date them. That's light energy. It's wonderful. If you notice that your self-love is intact, your joy is intact, and when they call or text you, it feels great. But whether they call or text you or not, you're still great. If you notice that you're grounded when you're around them, and you know you're going to see them, and you're just as grounded when they're not around and you're not going to see them that day, this is wonderful. That's light energy. That means that You're enjoying the dating experience, but not holding on too tightly. So if you notice that joy exists even apart from them, that is a good thing because it means you're balanced. However, it also could be giving you information. So if you are having so much joy apart from them that you don't want to see them anymore, you don't need to see them, or you're not calling them, or you're not returning their calls very often, then that's definitely data, right? That's information to just take in. And we do that without judgment. We do that with a lot of grace and a lot of dignity, honoring them, of course, and honoring ourselves, being so true to ourselves, loving ourselves, having such high, rich self-care practices that if a dating experience isn't working, it's okay. They get to go off and experience somebody new. You get to go off and experience somebody new, or new experiences, group date experiences, whatever it is that you're into. Dating should be fun. The whole experience should be an adventure, not something that brings us down, tears us apart. If our energy wavers and we're feeling stressed or distressed or overwhelmed, or if you become someone you don't even recognize, so concerned that maybe they're cheating on you, paranoid, rigid, judgmental, oh my God, who needs that? We don't need that. We don't need that in dating. We don't want that in dating, right? Let's change the paradigm. Let's date from a place of complete and utter self-love first. Authenticity, launching from self-love, self-care, going into the dating experience as if it's a wonderful, marvelous opportunity and adventure to share our energy with someone else. Let's keep it light. So again, whether you hear from them or not, your joy still exists. Your usual routine continues, and you notice that there is an excitement, a joie de vivre about all of the possibilities that exist, with a sense of wonder. What might unfold here? I'm sharing energy with this person. I'm going to see them again. Ooh, I'm excited about that. There should be a peacefulness and an excitement. It's light energy. It's not heavy. It's not dense. Now, you might be over the top, excited, but if it becomes obsessive or possessive or dense or dark or any of that kind of stuff, those are the red flags that we really want to pay attention to, with kindness to ourselves, with grace, with love, with dignity. Just step back and say, okay, what's going on here? What's going on here? Come back to center. Who am I now? How do I want to move through the world now? What's true for me in this now moment? How can I show up as my most authentic space in all areas of my life, for me first, but then also so that I don't contaminate this dating experience with my trauma, my drama, my stress, my fears, my phobias. Okay, so now, how do we know when to let go? That's another part of this question. Well, when the relationship that you're engaging in is causing unhealthy habits, this is where we really, really want to check in, and it might be an indication that it's time to let go. So if you find yourself spiraling down in any way, if you find yourself triggered or revisiting old patterns, cycles, and habits that you thought you'd laid to rest, these are definitely signs for us to pay attention to. If at some point you don't recognize yourself, but I mean in an unhealthy way, because you could date someone and the experience could be so enriching and you could grow so beautifully with that person and enjoy their company that within 6 months to a year you don't recognize yourself, but in a positive way, because you've grown so magnificently with that person. So that's wonderful. But if you don't recognize yourself, if you look at yourself in the mirror, or you find yourself doing things that just don't add up, they don't line up, they're not who you want to be. Remember the two questions. Who am I now? And how do I want to move through the world? How do I want to launch? Where's my launching pad? What space do I want to launch from now? If you don't recognize yourself and you've picked up a lot of unhealthy habits, that's really something to step back and self-monitor and recognize, do you need to get into maybe your own therapy? Do you need to see a life coach? Do you need to start working out a little bit more? What do you need to do to return back to center, to reclaim your balance? Some other things to consider: are there conversations with the other party that you're dating that are helping you remain true to self, or are they somehow undermining? So pay attention to the things you talk about. What are the conversations that come up? Some people intrinsically are very deep. They want to talk about world events, and they want to talk about soul and spiritual things. And the person that you're dealing with may prefer lighthearted, on the surface, superficial things. That doesn't mean the person's not deep. It just means that they may not be ready yet to go deep. Some people take a little bit more time to reveal their heart space. Others wear their heart on their sleeve and pour it out on the first date. So pay attention to, are you aligned? Is there congruence? Does it feel like they are able to match your energy? So another question that has come up to us: how do I know when to keep observing and collecting data on my experience versus when to take action or make a decision? That almost sounds like, when do I ask them to marry me? Well, again, check in with yourself constantly throughout the dating process. Be checking in, be checking in, be checking in, be checking in. Who am I now? How do I want to move through the world now? What's true for me now? What is my current status, experience? And ask yourself, what do you want? What do you need from yourself and from your dating experience? And also, will further observation render any new information? So sometimes we've started dating someone and we kind of have seen all we need to know, maybe in the first date or two, or the first conversation or two. There's something that just lets us know this is something we either want to continue with, or sometimes we're like, I don't think so. I feel complete. That there's some things, there were some red flags or some things I was uncomfortable with. Recognize that will further information, learning more things about them, learning more about their family and their upbringing and where they work, and meeting family members, will that shift those initial impressions? So it's interesting because it's like, we want to date openly, right? We want to have an openness and allow ourselves to grow into the process and learn the person. But there's going to be times when there's something up front that just kind of rubs you wrong or doesn't feel aligned. It could be something they say, it could be a belief system, it could be whatever. Whatever that is, honor yourself. You want to make sure that you are being true to self, and ask yourself, if I get any more information, is that going to change how I currently feel now? If the answer is possibly, or yes, more information, may help, may make me want to continue to invest, may make me fall in love with this person, then stay in it, stick with it, enjoy it. But if you already know there's really no real information that could change how you're currently seeing this experience or feeling this, then you might consider doing yourself a favor, exercising, radical integrity, and letting yourself know, this isn't what I want, and it's okay, I don't need to go on any further dates. And then, of course, letting the person know. And I always recommend that we do that with grace and dignity and reverence for a few reasons. I mean, it creates good karma. And also, when you treat another with respect and dignity, you're creating neural paths around dating that, are titled respect and dignity. So that, when you do date and find people that are aligned, that you want to spend time with, you've got neural paths around dating that center around respect and dignity and reverence and, integrity and treating you well. And therefore, you will emanate those types of pheromones, and your attractability, protocols will bring in people that are more of a match, all because of the way you think about dating, and all because of the way you treat people. So whether it's, you're looking at it from a biochemical response and the pheromones and the attractability that our pheromones create, or whether you're looking at it as karma, law of attraction, we want to we want to hold those others in the highest light if we can, as a way of honoring ourselves. We know who we are. We honor and respect ourselves. We love ourselves. We treat ourselves with grace and dignity, and we can do that with others. And it ties it all up in a very nice way so that there's no hard feelings. So we want to check in with ourselves, find out what it is that we want, be very clear about that. And then ask ourselves, do we already know everything we need to know, or is there more information? Am I intrigued? Am I enticed by this person? Do I want more? Do they leave me wanting more? Do I want to know more? That's exciting. That's that light energy that I was talking about earlier. If they're leaving you wanting more, then go for it. Stick with it. Sometimes the little you know, as I said earlier, is enough to know that you aren't really feeling the person. And so take action from that grounded place, but also pay attention to any emotions that are coming up. So one of the other questions was, when do we know to take action or how to take action? Stay grounded, stay anchored. At the very beginning of this talk, I was describing being true to yourself, being authentic, honoring the self at all cost, and recognize that the emotions that come up during your dating experience, or any feelings that show up, they're going to help you make your judgment calls about whether I take action, whether I not take action. So pay attention to all of the different emotions that are showing up within you, as well as your partner or the person that you're dating. Do those emotions feel good? The emotions, or the lack thereof, also determine whether you are being authentic and moving from your higher self in this dating experience. If you don't have any emotion, you're just kind of flat, you feel kind of numb when you're around this person, that's telling you a lot of things. So consider high vibe emotions versus low vibe emotions. Where are those showing up? Positive emotions versus those that are uncomfortable. And notice I said positive emotions versus negative. I didn't say negative, I said uncomfortable, because uncomfortable emotions are not necessarily negative. Uncomfortable emotions can be the catalyst for incredible growth and learning and self-integration. So notice where the emotions are positive or where they're uncomfortable. Notice where the emotions are helpful versus not helpful. So for example, if you have an emotion or thought, while you're on your date, this person's a complete idiot, I could never see myself marrying them, what a joke this is, and whatever feelings, like you feel bored, you feel this is a waste of time, you're annoyed. Whoa, those are some heavy emotions. Pay attention to them, and perhaps with grace and dignity bow out pretty quickly. Of course, check in. Maybe you're not being fair, maybe you're being too aggressive, too judgmental. But if you're already feeling that, with this person, they may not be a good match. And remember, check in moment to moment. Where am I? Who am I now? How do I want to move through the world now? Because if I'm launching from judgment, this person's an idiot, they annoy me, I could never see myself marrying this person, I'm launching into the dating adventure from there. I'm really not launching high, am I? I'm launching way down here, trying to get off ground. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to kind of really be able to get too far. Okay, so all of these things, your emotions, your nervous system, to some degree, your cellular response. Do you feel like you're going to throw up when you're on the date with them? Do you have butterflies in your stomach? All of these things help you navigate the experience. And you want to ask yourself, is your experience aligned with your future goals? So who am I now? How do I want to move through the world now? Present tense. But the experience I'm having with this person, does it align with whatever my future goals are? And only you can determine that. For those of you that want to date but don't have any interest in long-term partnership, fun and games type dating might work for you. For those of you that want a long-term monogamous partnership, there's going to be certain things you're looking for. For those of you that are polyamorous and want a freestyle loving relationship with multiple people, there's going to be things you're looking for. So think about not only your present, but think about your future. What do you want now? And what do you anticipate you're going to want? And does this current dating adventure align with that future self or those future goals? Is the emotional experience you're having when dating keeping you grounded in the present moment? So yes, consider the future, but are you grounded and anchored here? Or are you wandering somewhere out in the ethers? Or are you checked out, dissociating when you're on the date? Does your current experience align with your present perception of who you are and what you want? That's a super important question. If your perception alters based on the dating experience, that's something to learn from. Sometimes we date people and we grow, and our perception of ourselves changes because we're growing, and it's a beautiful thing. But sometimes they're seeing something that isn't who we identify as. It's not quite how we see ourselves, or maybe it's drastically not the way we see ourselves. And yet when we interact with that person, they're maybe projecting their experience with their last ex, or they're projecting their parents' communication dynamic onto us. If the experience we have while dating alters our perception of who we see ourselves as, that is a huge red flag to at least take note of. So when do we back off? Okay, this is one of the other questions. When do we know just to completely back off? Well, pay attention to that off feeling. Do things feel imbalanced in you? Is there a lack of reciprocation in attention and affection? Do you feel you're overgiving? Or are they overgiving and you're not really feeling that? You don't want to do all of that. Pay attention to that. Is there, do you feel like you're playing mind games when you're with this person? Either they're playing games with you or you're playing games with them. This is a huge red flag. If anybody's playing mind games in the dating experience, or any relationship for that matter, maybe table dating, go back to therapy, see a life coach, check in, find out what's going on, because we don't want to bring mind games into our dating adventure, right? That's just a recipe for disaster. Do you feel like you are just an option? Now this is big. This is big. Do you feel like you're just an option? So in life we all have options, right? We have options in dating. We have options in the car that we buy, the house that we choose to live in, community, where we choose to work, careers, etc., etc. There's lots of options. What we eat for lunch. We have options. We know that. Everybody on the planet has options. But that doesn't mean people have to make you feel like you're an option. Okay? So notice the difference. We all have options. Everybody has options. But when you're on a date or experiencing a dating adventure, the last thing we want is to make that person feel like you're just an option. And we certainly don't want to feel like we're just an option, because that waters down the dating experience. It contaminates the dating experience. So even if you're dating multiple people at once, consider when you're with one person, be completely present. Or when you're with a group of people on a group date, be present with the group. Stay engaged, because in that moment there's no other option if you're fully present. And that obviously comes from a space, launching from a place of maturity, but also that dignity and respect, grace and reverence that I was talking about, that we give to ourselves first as our self-care practices, and that we bring to the dating adventure. So if a person's communication style causes you to feel like you are just an option, that might be a clear red flag that it's time for you to back off. And does being around the person cause you to feel badly about yourself? Red flag. Even if it's just your perception, if that's how you feel when you're around them, some work is still needed. Are you resorting to unhealthy practices? We talked about that a little bit earlier. Is there any level of disrespect from you or them? Is the communication healthy, or do you find that it's condescending? Is there a power over dynamic? Does the person use power and control tactics to win or get their point across, and are you doing that? Do you feel pressure, or are you the one doing the pressuring? Huge red flags, okay? these might be strong indications that it's time to back off, go back to the drawing board, do your own healing work. So real quick before I end this talk today, I want to talk about a little bit of some tips. How do we go into your dating adventure with your high vibe and your authentic self and light energy? Enjoy the attraction, enjoy the crush, and be passionate. I talked about passion at the very beginning. Focus on things you're super passionate about right before your date. What lights you up? Use all of the senses. Smell the passion, feel the passion. I'm not talking about sex. I'm talking about just life adventures, things that light you up. Be passionate as you go into the dating experience by focusing on the things you're passionate about. When you're on your date, talk to the person. Now this is going to be interesting for those of you that get super nervous and anxious. Try and practice. You might want to do some mirror work. Practice talking to them like they're your best friend. So let's try and remove the anxiety and the stress and the, oh my gosh, the woulda, shoulda, coulda, and all the doom and gloom ideas. Talk to them like you are their best friend. You've known them for a really long time, and you can just be your true self. Just be your authentic self. That's going to work for some people. It's not going to work for others, but learn to just be cool with who you are in your own skin. Launch from there, and your attractability is going to go through the roof. You're going to meet so many people that are aligned with and can match your energy because this is who you are, and they see it. And some are going to really love that. They're going to love who you really are. Never forget that. So see it as an adventure where you're here to learn and have fun. Practice healthy detachment. What is that? It's where you have high intentions. You are going to show up as the best version of yourself, high intentions, and you have high expectations of how you're going to move through the dating adventure, because let's face it, that's all you can control. You can't control them. So high intentions, high expectations for yourself, but neutral expectations of the other, meaning detached from having rigid rules or ideas, or detached from specific results having to occur, because you can't control them. And it's an adventure where anything could happen. You don't know where it's going to go. So you show up with high intentions, high expectations of yourself, because you're choosing to be that person. But neutral when it comes to them, in that it's an adventure. You don't know how they're going to show up. Hopefully, you're hoping for the best, and hopefully they're going to match your energy. But if they don't, because your expectations were neutral instead of too high or too attached to specific results, like on the first date, this is the one, I've got to marry this person, like that's a little rigid. That's a little extreme, and you might set yourself up for failure there. So neutral expectations. Stay neutral and enjoy the experience overall. Enjoy who you are on the date and who you are becoming throughout the entire experience. Enjoy showing up. Be in gratitude. Let that emanate from your pores. Let that emanate from your pheromones, your gratitude for sharing your energy with another, and the opportunity to, just witness their energy. And know deep within yourself that you are a person of value, and sharing your energy with another is the most beautiful gift for you and for them. And if you approach your dating adventure from that launching pad in gratitude, as your authentic self, knowing you're a person of value, and the right person or people are going to witness you. They're going to see you shining like a beacon of light, and they're going to gravitate towards you, and they're going to be able to match your energy. So right before I close, thank you everybody who joined now or on the replay. We were talking about discernment today. We were answering questions to see how do we know when to stay, when to leave, when to step back, how to trust ourselves in dating. I started on passion. I want to end on passion. I was talking to a friend yesterday, and we were discussing the Tesla Model S Plaid, and her son has one of these. She's an older woman. Her son has a Tesla, and his friend has like the latest, the 2021. And so she got in the car with her son's friend, and and she said, okay, I want to take a ride around the block, but I don't want to go as fast as all the other people that you've been chauffeuring. And his response was, oh no, I have to. I have to. I have to take you around the block fast. And she was like, okay. So he took her around 3 times, warp speed, whatever that particular Tesla does. And she said it lit her world up. She said she felt so ignited with joy and passion, this exuberant energy, like she had just warped through the universes. It felt so good. And she said she stumbled out of the car feeling high on life. That's passion, people. That's what I'm talking about. Find those things that you're passionate about, that feel good to your soul, that light you up. We've all had something, right? We've all done something, gone somewhere, done a project, experienced something. It could be a mountain, a world adventure. It could be a delicious meal that you cooked, whatever. Maybe you learned tango. Maybe you learned a beautiful piano piece and you presented that to somebody. Whatever you're passionate about, focus on that, embody that, and bring that into your dating experience. It will light your world. It will assure you of having some really remarkable dates. Even if that person isn't your person, you're going to have a lot of fun. And they're going to be matching your energy because they're going to feel that passion oozing off of you. And it'll be a really enjoyable experience. All right. So for those of you that are able to participate in tomorrow's Hum Hum Conscious Dating group, it meets at 10 a.m. PDT and 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I will be facilitating. Alexandra, the founder of Hum Hum, will also be there. She also leads a 20-minute meditation/breath practice 20 minutes before our conscious dating group. You're welcome to sign up for either or both of them, preferably both, because we do like for you to stay the entire time once you're there. You can go sign up on the website, humhumspace.com. I look forward to seeing you. Blessings on your dating journey and adventure. Everyone have a great day. Bye.